Good evening, everyone, and thanks for choosing Acadiana's news channel at 6 o'clock. I'm Marcel Fontenot. Jim will join us live from St. Landry Parish in just a moment. That area, one of many across Acadiana, cleaning up and assessing damage after a line of severe storms moved through early this morning. We first told you about a tornado warning for parts of Acadiana by our push alert on our app before 6:30 in the morning. Our meteorologist stayed on air until the worst of the weather moved through. And tonight we have team coverage covering today's storms. Katie Easter in Washington, where a possible tornado caused significant damage. Kendria LaFleur on the ground in Ville Platte with street flooding there. Kaylee Norman is in Lafayette, where an apartment fire is said to have been caused by a lightning strike. And Brianna Aldridge covering flooding in New Iberia. And tonight, as I mentioned, Jim also in Washington, where we are awaiting confirmation from the National Weather Service about the possibility of a tornado causing destruction there this morning. Jim.
Marcel, good evening. At 5 o'clock, we showed you how today's severe weather, that suspected tornado, ripped the roof off of this home behind me just outside the town of Washington. Here we are about an hour later, and family friends are all ready to work getting this roof replaced for the woman who lives inside. I spoke to her before our 5 o'clock newscast. Her name is Miss Rose Johnson. She didn't want me to give her age. Her granddaughter says she's like that sometimes, but she was inside riding out today's severe weather. She was in her bedroom, in her bed, when all of a sudden she felt some water coming in. She heard those high winds. She didn't know what to do, so she stayed put, and her roof, the back half of her roof, was just blown off from that severe weather today. Her family was very worried. There was a tree that's down on the property, the road that you can actually access this house from, so they had to first chop that down, saw that off the roadway just to get here to Miss Johnson's house. She is safe tonight. She's staying with her granddaughter. We'll hear from her coming up tonight at 10. But this suspected tornado was a big problem. Wind was a big problem for plenty of people here in St. Landry Parish, including the town of Washington, where, as Katie Easter reports, some families there are out of their homes tonight.
I spoke with several people in the area. They tell me around 7:30 this morning they woke up to strong winds that they weren't expecting. And now you can see multiple homes in the area have their roofs completely blown off. Ricky Hicks and his wife packed quickly after their roof peeled off into a nearby yard. Hicks tells me when he got up around 8 a.m., he noticed more daylight than usual. His wife heard water dripping in the kitchen. That's when their ceiling caved in over the kitchen and back bedroom, rain continuing to pour in.
All I heard was a rumbling sound, and that was it. The wind subsided, and I guess that's when they took the roof off, and I heard that little rumbling sound like a train, like, no warning, no nothing, just out the blue.
And the people I spoke with tell me they're thankful that everybody is okay. In Washington, Katie Easter, KTC TV3.
Elsewhere in Acadiana, rain and flooding, those were the big impacts so many had to deal with from today's severe weather. Brianna Aldridge tonight continues our team coverage from Iberia Parish.
New Iberia saw its strongest winds early Tuesday morning, coming at 53 miles per hour. But now that the winds have calmed down, it's the flooding that remains a problem for the city.
Like the main highways, Walmart near Amador, Main Street.
These are just a few on the list that are notorious for flooding in the area. New Iberia Public Works districts are being split among 6 different groups and have sent crews to address the sections in most need of drainage. Currently, there are no roads being blocked off because of flooding, but if you take a look at the road behind me, which is Hacker Street, there's a lot of streets in residential areas that look like this, and drivers should take extra precaution when driving through town. Reporting in New Iberia, Brianna Aldridge, KTC TV3.
And from Iberia Parish now to Evangeline Parish and Ville Platte, those floodwaters have gone down. But as Kendria LaFleur shows us what a difference just a few hours can make.
The water has completely drained, but some people who live in the area believe flooding is part of a larger issue. They say anytime there's a hard rain, the streets begin to flood. They believe the main issue is drainage. We did reach out to Ville Platte Mayor Jennifer Vedrine. She tells us the city is always cleaning up the drainage and manholes, especially when they know bad weather is coming. But she also says when a lot of rain comes down in a short amount of time, flooding will happen no matter what you do. 2 people I spoke with tell me they've seen flooded streets often whenever the weather gets bad. They take care of some buildings where they keep storage and say sometimes the water seeps into the building.
Water on the floor in the building, but luckily we got everything out of that building and transferred it into another building before it got too bad this spring, so we could make sure that everything didn't get ruined. So,
reporting in Evangeline Parish, Kendra LaFleur, KATC TV3.
And these are new images into our newsroom tonight. St. Mary deputies posting these photos to Facebook. Several streets in Bayou Vista are flooded tonight. This is an ongoing weather event. The sheriff says if people don't need to be in Bayou Vista, stay off the roads. He also says people who are driving too fast, guess what? That's pushing floodwaters into already flooded yards, and it can threaten some homes in that area. Well, so much calmer tonight. The skies are darker, but earlier today they were lighting up with all of that lightning out there. And as Kaylee Norman shows us, lightning is suspected of sparking an apartment fire in Lafayette.
Firefighters reported to a 2-alarm fire here at Fox Run Apartments in Lafayette earlier on Tuesday morning. Occupants tell me that they heard a loud noise and then began smelling smoke and quickly evacuated the building to see the unit engulfed in smoke, which quickly turned into flames. Officials reported no fatalities or injuries, but say the damage is extensive.
Right now, I think we're at least about 6 people total, maybe 8. And they don't have any place to stay at this point in time, because the fire just pretty much destroyed everything. And what didn't, the water putting it out, pretty much damaged everything.
We did attempt to speak to occupants who were on the scene, all of which are devastated and refused to speak. Reporting in Lafayette, I'm Kaylee Norman, KATC TV3.
And back out here live in St. Landry Parish, really a story of Acadiana doing what Acadiana does best. Family and friends are out here just getting this tarp on this roof for Miss Rose Johnson, who did survive today's what is believed to be a tornado here just outside the town of Washington. It blew the tin roof just right off her home. We're going to hear from her, Marcel, coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. For now, live in St. Landry Parish, Jim Hummel, Marcel, back to you.
Alrighty, thank you, Jim. Heartwarming to see that happening right behind you. Well, we saw pictures of Bayou Vista flooding, and we know rains continue in Lower St. Mary Parish and parts of Iberia. We join Chief Meteorologist Rob Perillo right now. And Rob, rain's still here now, a break for most of Acadiana, but more to come, right?
Yeah, there is going to be more to come, and we're going to back it up first and take a look at those heavy storms earlier today that produced the flooding conditions across northern portions of Acadiana. This cell right here, that was a supercell thunderstorm that more than likely produced that damaging, what I think is going to be classified as a tornado. Of course, we're waiting on the National Weather Service for their storm survey, but as it moved through Washington, you can almost see right there a little bit of a curl. Really hard to tell, and that's what makes it so difficult to pinpoint tornadoes in Acadiana. But more than likely there was a tornado in this vicinity of Washington. Brief touchdown on the southwestern flank of this supercell that was probably producing maybe some small hail or at least torrential downpours on the northern flank of that storm. Now, on top of that, boy, look at these rain totals that came in during the course of the morning, and now we're adding to that as we get into St. Mary Parish, as Jim just told you about the flooding down towards St. Mary Parish. Upwards of 7 inches of rain in spots from Cameron into northern Jeff Davis, into southern Evangeline, northern Acadia, and then upwards of 6 to 7 inches as we get into St. Landry Parish. Not much in Lafayette, and then you go farther to the south, got a ground truth in around the Sippermore Point area of 6.5 inches, and I would suspect that the rains have been accumulating more in St. Mary than what the Doppler estimates here in St. Mary, because it's between the Lake Charles Doppler and the Slidell Doppler. St. Mary Parish often gets underserved by the local Doppler radars coming from the Weather Service there. You can see very intense storms, severe storms offshore, but still lingering rainfall across portions of southeast Acadiana, including St. Mary and St. Martin parishes. We think those showers will gradually come to an end, but notice the high-resolution rapid refresh model keeps the showers and storms in the mix through tomorrow. And then tomorrow during the day, we see action moving across Acadiana, not as concentrated, not as much as a severe weather threat, but we are hatched in for a marginal risk of severe storms along and north of the highways 190 and I-10 corridors. So tomorrow, rain chances starting off relatively low, but they'll pick up as the day wears on, especially afternoon, early evening hours. And then we do it all over again after things quiet down tomorrow night, going into Thursday afternoon with an even greater threat of severe weather. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit.
Alrighty, thank you, Robin. For the latest weather updates, download the KATC weather app or visit KATC.com.